Good evening, everyone. I'm just here a minute early. If you don't have your props, go and get some things now. So we're going to be using a tennis ball or a small sock rubber ball or 2 balls in a sock, aka a peanut. If you don't have any of those things, go get a potato. It seems really weird and random, but it's still actually kind of a good self-massage tool. So go get one of these round things. And then a yoga strap would be great. If you don't have a yoga strap, just get a scarf or a belt or something long that you can use to help stretch your legs. You might also like to grab any number of pillows. I've got 2 here. These are actually like bed pillows in embroidered pillowcases. So bed pillows are good, couch pillows are good, absolutely. If you have a yoga bolster, awesome, but don't worry if you don't, you can just use other pillows. And we'll just give it a few minutes so everyone can get themselves organised, get their pillows, get their straps, maybe get a potato, whatever you need. Ran is online, so do you want to come say hi?
Sure.
Take off the headphones, take off the gear. It's Ran!
Hello!
So yeah, good evening, folks. Thank you again for joining us for Thursday Night Yin. We got a really beautiful response from last week, so thank you so much for your wonderful feedback and support. This is a practice that I really love, and Thursday Night Yin is such an important part of my teaching week that I didn't want to stop sharing it with the studio closed. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much, Ran, for setting up the mic and the webcam and answering people on Facebook. If you do have a question or you need a different option, if you type that into the comments, Ran will let me know, and I'll try and give plenty of options as we go as well. This is it's a guided practice, but I can't see you. So if you are moving through your practice and something doesn't feel good in your body, especially if you're working with an injury and you don't already have an established yoga practice, take care of yourself. If you don't feel like this is enough guidance and you want a little bit more interactivity, we've got our Zoom classes, which are still pretty low cost. It's $10 per person, and I'm leading a Nurturing Yoga and Pilates class 6 o'clock on Monday nights. Ran is sharing a gentle yoga class 6 o'clock on Tuesday nights, and on Zoom we can see and talk to you. So if you feel like tonight is not giving you enough individual support and attention, that could be another option while we're all still socially distancing ourselves. We're also going to be launching something new next week, our online mentoring for yoga teachers. I've had so many questions and emails about other yoga teachers who also want to share their practice online, that this will be something new that we're opening up so we can support other yoga teachers who also want to be able to support their own community through these stressful times. I'll talk a little bit more about that at the end of the practice, but all of the info will be on our website, gardenofyoga.com.au, and hopefully everyone's had time to get their balls and their potatoes and their straps and their pillows, so let's settle in.
I'll leave you to it.
Thanks, Ran. And so we're going to begin by just finding a really comfortable position for you. So if sitting is feeling the most comfortable for tonight, you're welcome to sit. Otherwise, you can lie down. So if you wanted to get a bolster, just set yourself up, lying back over the bolster, a little bit of opening through the front of the chest and the front of the shoulders. I'm feeling like tonight I'd maybe want a little bit of an extra pillow underneath my head. Pillow underneath the knees can be really nice. And some people also like to start out with the feet together and the knees wide. Just settling in to a bit of an opening, inner thigh and hip stretch. We don't want to come into anything that feels too intense. We want to be in a position that feels easy. Just some time to settle in, some time to notice our breathing, to notice state of mind. And it's not necessarily realistic with everything we've got going on in the world to expect that everyone is coming to their mat calm and relaxed tonight. But hopefully through this practice, we will be able to find some moments of calm and ease. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring in a bit of self-massage, because that's a practice that really helps me slow down my mind, down-regulate my nervous system, and ease out some of the tight spots in my body, which helps me sleep. So settling in now, your eyes can be closed or just soft gaze. Noticing your own breathing as it flows in and out. You might like to explore a different shoulder position, so arms coming out wide to the side. Might give you a little more sense of openness across the chest. Arms reaching back behind or holding elbows. Might give you a little bit more space through the sides of the rib cage and the sides of the lungs to expand the breath into. And if we are thinking about sending that soothing message to the mind and to the nervous system, we might like to explore just gently lengthening out the exhale. Not in a way that feels like it's any strain or even a lot of effort. Just with each breath out, a slow, smooth stream of breath. Just with that sense of gently elongating that breath out. One of the beautiful things about our yin practice is that we can use the sensations in the body as a way of bringing our mind into this present moment. So noticing what you're feeling here and now, where sensations might be speaking to you through your lips. Maybe you're noticing something through the shoulders. If you ever feel sharp pain, an uncomfortable feeling that you want to get out of, or just something that doesn't feel right in your body, take care of yourself, ease your way out. We hang out in these yin postures for a while, but you can always come out a little earlier if that's what feels right for your body tonight. You can just make your way to lying on the ground. If you're feeling good to stay here, I'm going to be quiet for the next 5 or 6 breaths, just to give you that time to come into internal space. Noticing what you're feeling in your body here and now. From here, just taking your time. You might like to roll over onto one side or use your hands to help you come up to sit. easing your cushion or your bolster away. Finding your rebound shape. So that could be lying flat, but it doesn't have to be. You might end up keeping your knees bent, or you might sit. This pose is all about noticing the after effects of the posture we were just in. So you want to be in a position that feels pretty neutral, something that doesn't require a lot of effort and concentration. Sometimes when we're in a particular posture, it can feel pretty subtle while we're there, but then when we come into the rebound, we can feel some really interesting after effects. So from here, we're going to move into a bit of glute massage, and I'm going to show you all the options and then give you time to try them for yourself. First option, if you are really sensitive around here, lying on a soft ball is going to be too uncomfortable to ball. You can do a standing glute massage. Otherwise, I can use any one of my props. Small ball, more targeted. Have a bit of an explore, see what you find. Peanut, because it's two balls in a sock. A more spread out area of sensation, not quite as intense. Potato, which is a heart shape, doesn't roll. So you'll have to just have a little explore, moving a bit more of your body and find a place that feels like it would appreciate some sustained pressure. And whether you're using a ball or a potato, you can just stay and breathe. You can lean weight off the area that you're massaging by letting your other hip rest down. You can lean a little bit more pressure into that particular area. And I'll start the timer. And just in case you're thinking none of those options are feeling good for me tonight, I don't want to do any self-massage, you can go for ankle to thigh, glute stretch, just pause, breathe into this, maybe even drawing the legs in towards you if you do need a little more of that stretch. You can also combine, so you can stay in place with your massaging implement, but you might choose gentle movement with your body, changing where you feel that sensation. I just put one hand underneath my other hip, also as a way of taking a little bit of that weight out of the side that I'm massaging, but I just felt like I'd like to keep my pelvis a little bit more level. So you could use a pillow for that as well if you like. I could also move this leg. So I could do a little side to side or a little circle. There are a lot of options and it's very, very guided. It's just responding to what you're feeling in your body. If you're working on a sensitive area, we don't want to push too hard. We want to be gentle with ourselves, and especially gentle with those muscles that might already be a bit sensitive. So you want to be working for a sense of release. Maybe even using your breath out as a gentle message to let go a little more to any places where you're feeling a lot of resistance or restriction. You might also choose to not push directly into any of those areas that are feeling sensitive. You might work around those areas instead. You might find you want to stay in the one place for a while. It's time to swap sides. Before we do, have a rebound moment. Seeing if you can already feel the difference in sensation between the side that you've massaged and the side you haven't got to yet. Sometimes it might feel like the floors change shape underneath you, or the area you've just been massaging is bigger than the other side because your nervous system has now mapped it in more detail. Your mind's got a clearer sense of what's happening there. Spend as long as you need, but if you're ready for it, we'll take it to the other side. Like before, you might lean some of your weight to the ground or just use your other hand underneath or a cushion. You might go for an ankle to thigh stretch from here. You might stay kind of steady with your body or bring in a bit of gentle movement. Don't be surprised if you feel pretty different sensations between the two sides. Often we do different things with our legs through the day. Sometimes you might just notice one hip feels a little bit tighter than the other side. And that's actually one of the benefits of a self-massage practice. It gives us the opportunity to explore into some of those differences that we might have between the sides of the body, some of the movement habits that we might have. And we're not expecting things to be symmetrical, but we might find that we can work towards a sense of balance, even if that means that you're doing different things on each side of the body because you feel different sensations there. Sometimes you get so into it you forget to set the timer for the second side. So I'll let you know a little bit before the 2-minute mark, since I was kind of hanging out here for a while before I set that timer. Who knows, this could be everyone's tighter side, which would appreciate that extra time. Often time really flies when you're having a massage, even if it's one that you're giving yourself. It can be quite a helpful tool in bringing the mind into the body, into this moment, because there's all of these different sensations that we can pay attention to. And even if some of the stuff that we find doesn't necessarily feel that relaxing, sometimes we can find some tight spots or some cranky spots, as we're working towards that sense of release. Often that's a sense of release that we feel in the mind as well as in the body. Sometimes as we're working into these deeply held areas of the body, we do have stuff that comes up mentally and emotionally. And so you might like to set an intention just to greet those thoughts and those insights with compassion. It's part of the practice as well. And to know that you have full permission to ease out of anything that does feel too intense tonight. So you might like to stay a little longer, especially if this was your tighter side. You might be ready for your rebound. With bent knees or long legs. And again, this is your time to notice the differences between how you felt first side, second side, to continually check in. And sometimes some really different sensations can come up in the body. Sometimes there might be a sense of warmth or extra vibrancy in an area that we've been focusing on, an extra connection between mind and body, which is a great bonus. That's a great outcome. Sometimes strange stuff as well, like the floors change shape underneath you, or like you feel a bit more flat. Just noticing what's come up for you. So we have quite a few options from here. If you were here last week, you might remember this one. One option is to start out, I'm going to mirror image. I'm just resting my left foot to the inside of my right thigh, and I could just stay upright here, or I could start to lengthen forwards over that right thigh. If you feel good about taking this into a bit more of a twist, you can bring in a bolster. You can lie over the bolster or over your pillows. This could be a good one for couch pillows. And that can be in either direction. Same direction as the knees, or looking the opposite way. And there's actually a fully lying down version of this as well, where you're just lying on your back. And we'll go with the knees leaning towards the right. You might even like to pop a cushion underneath one or both of those thighs. And so from here, I'll give you those in reverse order. Either just knees leaning towards the right, sitting up. I'm going to turn these chimes down. And maybe bringing a cushion into the mix, or lying over some support, either direction with your face, whatever feels good for you. I'll go with this version tonight. From here, there are some options as to, there's always options, but you might like to have your body on a slightly different angle. Just making sure that whatever shape you're in, it feels comfortable for your knees. There's no expectation that your pelvis is level on the ground, but if that's a sensitive area for you and you want some more stability beneath your hips, I'd choose the lying on the back version. And you might notice as well that it feels a little too much to just let the head hang in the seated version. So you might like to bring in your pillows. And that's the beauty of our yin practice. There's so much scope to adjust the posture so it suits our needs. Working for that sense of not too little, not too much sensation. Where you might be feeling the sensations in this pose. You might be feeling it through the hips. One hip is externally rotated, one hip is internally rotated. You might be feeling some of that area that you worked on in the self-massage, continuing that action, just getting a little gentle lengthening stretch now. And so from here, we're going to slowly, gradually ease our way out. Taking your time, lying down, if that's comfy for you. If you are working the bolster and you're lying over the bolster for your twist, you might like to lie over the bolster for your rebound. You might as well, it's there. If you're already lying on your back and you want to just let your knees lean in on each other rather than lengthening them out, that's another great option as well. And now that we're here, we get this other chance to check in with the hips. Just see what we notice. See how things might have evolved. And we might feel differences in sensation through the lower back, through the legs. We might be feeling different in our minds. We'll take it to the other side. So if you're taking the lying down version, you can let your knees lean over to the left. Remember, I'm mirror imaging you. You might work from sitting, knees going towards the left, stretching over the legs, or bringing in a cushion or some bolsters, lying over them, feeling into what version of this pose is going to be the most nurturing for your mind and your body tonight. And sometimes it's not the gentlest version. Sometimes there's just not enough going on to stay present if you're not feeling enough sensation to be satisfying. So you might just do a little move around or a little wiggle around when we settle into each shape. And while we don't want to fidget a lot in our yin practice, full permission to back off a little bit if a shape is feeling too intense, or to readjust yourself to go a little deeper if you're not getting enough out of it. And so, say I was here now and I did want to go a little deeper, one thing I could do is just move a pillow away so that I could sink a little lower. I'm just noticing your breath again. I'm going to give you a little bit of quiet time now so you can continue that internal exploration, the sensations that you feel. Maybe continuing with that sense of gently lengthening out each exhale, feeling the ground beneath you, giving your weight to the earth. So from here, coming into your rebound shape, could be lying down with the legs long or with the knees bent, and settling into a position that feels good for you, somewhere where you can check in. Hopefully a position that isn't requiring a lot of effort. We are generally aiming to be pretty passive in our yin shapes, to set up the architecture of each shape and then settle into it. So in all of the postures, but especially in the rebounds, if you're feeling like you have to work in a particular shape to stay steady, that could be a chance to bring in some more props or to choose a different variation. And I've got quite a few options for the next pose. One of them is child's pose. So listen to all the options if you've got sensitive knees. Actually, listen to all the options anyway. You never know which one you're going to want. It could be just unsupported, on the floor, letting the arms stretch forward. Knees can be wide or together, or bringing the arms back by your side. That's one option. You could bring in your bolster or your cushions and recline over that. We can keep the bolster and we can use it to sit on. And we might like to fold forwards over bent knees. I reckon for me tonight, couple more cushions underneath my knees, so I actually feel like I can really settle into this shape. This could be a chance. Could be a chance to let one of your massage balls loose. That's all right. Or to use your strap around your feet and sit up nice and tall. You don't have to sit up tall in yin. If it feels comfortable for your body, especially with the knees bent, you can let your body melt forwards over the legs. And I would be cautious with this next variation if your back is sensitive in forward bending poses, because gravity will be taking you deeper into this next pose. But I know some of my regulars love this one, so I really wanted to bring it in tonight. It's dangling pose. So I'm just hanging forwards over my legs. My knees are bent here as well. And you might not want to stay as long in this shape. So dangling pose, a seated forward bend, maybe with a strap, maybe with some cushions, a child's pose, with or without bolster action. And that's the one I'll stay with. I'm gonna set my timer, but remember to listen to your body before you listen to my timer. So listen to your own internal timer. You might want to come out a little earlier, or you might want to stay longer. Target area with all of these postures is the back line of the body. And that back line of connective tissue along the spine is some of the densest, toughest fascia, connective tissue in the body. And so we want to take a bit of time to allow some of those layers to start to gently glide and slide against each other in this sustained hold. It doesn't have to be a very dramatic forward bend. It's not about touching your toes. You want to be in a shape where you get a gentle sense of lengthening along the back line of the body. A shape that feels relaxing enough that you can stay nice and steady with the mind, even with the breath. Something that you feel like you want to stay with. If it feels like something you want to get out of, then you can just ease your way out and either choose another variation or just come into a longer rebound. And as we're hanging out here for a while, you might feel a difference in awareness. There might be places where you notice more sensation, sense of tightness or sensitivity. And you might actually like to use your breath as a way to direct your awareness into those particular places. Sending awareness there on the inhale. And it could just be a sense of breathing with the sensations in your body tonight. Or you could use that exhale as a gentle message to release and let go a little more. And it could be a very slow, gradual process. You might actually notice particular muscles that you realize are working harder than they need to. And as soon as you notice that, you can just let go of a bit of that effort. You might notice as well there are particular places in your body that do tend to tense up a bit when you're feeling stressed or under pressure. And so just being extra gentle with those parts of your body, extra sensitive with them tonight. Being gentle with yourself. From here, we're going to ease our way into our rebound. And taking your time with that. You could lie down. You can always put that bolster underneath your knees after that forward bend. Could be feeling pretty interesting underneath that back line of your body. Be feeling like you've elongated a little bit as you've settled down onto the mat. So, this next posture I'm going to share, full disclosure, not a personal fave, but a favourite of some of my regulars, so I wanted to make sure I got it into the practice tonight. One of the options is frog pose. That's not my personal favourite because I don't really like how it feels on my knees. I think I've got particularly pointy knees. So, If I was going to do it, I'd use cushions underneath my knees. And I also wouldn't choose this option if you've got really sensitive hips. It might just feel a bit much. And you're going to put yourself in a position that feels super intense. But I know sometimes it can be really satisfying if that's a part of your body that is feeling tense to get a bit of release there. And sometimes it can help the mind stay present if we do have some strong sensations to tune into. If you're thinking, yes, but not that, you could come onto your bolster and you could go for some wide legs as you fold forwards from here, or some bent knees. So you can kind of see how it's a little bit of a similar shape, but without your body weight pressing down. It's going to be not so sore on your knees if you're like me. You might also like to lie on your back and go either just out wide with the knees, or might even like to hold on to your feet. So in reverse order, our options were lying back, holding feet, or holding knees. Coming up, you don't necessarily need to sit on height, but can be a pretty comfy option. Folding forward with the knees bent, or with long legs, or the frog pose if you're into it. Bolster underneath. Actually, probably it's only me that needs a cushion underneath their knees. Probably everyone else is just fine on the floor. I'm a sensitive little frog. And then from here, a little move forward or back with the pelvis can actually make quite a big difference as to where you're feeling this posture. So I'm going to set the timer. Hopefully you found something that's giving you that right amount of sensation. Not too much, not too little. Enough that your mind has something to explore. This is another posture where there's a bit of sensitivity around the lower back, especially at sacroiliac joint where the spine meets the hips. You don't necessarily want to pull on that area. So you have a sense of keeping that integrity between the spine and the hips. That's why sitting on a cushion can be nice to help the pelvis tilt forwards. Or you might choose one of the lying on the back options where you know that your spine is supported. Not an issue for everyone, but if it's something that you're feeling sensitive with, then just take care of yourself. Choose an option that's right for you, even if it's one that I haven't mentioned. So hanging out here for a while, you could look forwards. You could let your head hang, or you could put some blocks or a pillow underneath your head from here. These are some really strong muscles, dense connective tissues, and lots of layers. So you might feel things gently evolving over multiple postures. You might be feeling a little bit of a continuation of that lengthening out through the back line of the body between the last pose and this one. You might be feeling different sensations, more for inner thighs. You might even be feeling this more as a pose that's about the upper back and in between the shoulders, especially if you think of sending your breath there. And so just going to give you some more time to hang out here. I'm going to be a little bit more quiet so you can have this space for your own internal experience. from here, easing your way. Maybe back up to sit, or maybe you're lying on your back and you're just going to lengthen out your legs. Coming into your rebound, coming into this time where you get to feel how things are evolving mentally and physically. And even just noticing how that process of continually checking in is feeling for you tonight. If maybe as you do it more and more, it becomes a little easier to feel some more subtle details in the body. I wanted to make our last shape about opening up through the front of the hips. And if you don't have a firm cushion or bolster, your pose might look a bit different. You might actually lie on your belly, rest your head on your hands, and just bend both knees. So you might feel a little stretch through the front of the hips and the front of the thighs here. This is different to like a bow pose in an active yoga class, but if you could just gently take hold of your ankles in a way that didn't give you any kind of strain, that's an option. There's other options as well though. You might like to bring your bolster underneath your hips. And I'll actually give us single leg options and then both leg options. So from here, that could just be maybe lengthening out one leg. That might already be giving you enough of a sense of lengthening through the front of the hip, front of the thigh. You might draw your other knee in. Your strap could be part of that. I wouldn't choose this one for me because then it's just all about my hamstrings, but I know some people love this variation. For me, this one's actually the one that gives me the best sense of lengthening and opening through the front of that hip. And for the people who were lying front ways, trying to knock my water bottle over, that could be like this. Or even like that, with your arm on a non-awkward angle. So we'll hang out for a while. It's a few phases to this, but as always, if you wanted to come out a little earlier, then you should come out a little earlier, do what's right for you. So we're either lying on our belly or lying on our back, establishing where we want that support to be. If it feels good for us, maybe lengthening out one of our legs. If we're comfortable with it, if we need a little more, maybe drawing the other knee in. Making sure that whatever shape you're in, it's not a whole lot of effort to be here. It might be a little bit more effort than some of those postures where gravity is the only force taking us deeper into the pose, because my arms are doing a little bit of work here, but I don't want to feel like my arms are going to get tired or my shoulders tense. And that can be something to look out for, because if your shoulders habitually tense up when you're stressed, I feel you, mine too. So it's an interesting one to look out for. Just making sure they're not working harder than they need to right now. And if it's your face or your jaw or somewhere else in your body that tends to clench a bit when you're getting stressed, just check in, seeing if there is anywhere that's currently working harder than it needs to in your body. So from here, you might like to change your sides. You can have a little moment between sides, easing other leg long, maybe drawing your knee in. Not necessarily mirror imaging the first side. Both sides of your body might have a different experience here, and that's something that we work with, we explore. But as before, choosing the option that's giving you that satisfying level of sensation, not too much, not too little. And from here, I'm going to hang out for a while, two legs together. So both knees could be bent, or both legs could be long if you're lying over that support, whether it's cushions or bolster. You could even lengthen out your arms if you want to find a little more opening through the front of the hips. Sometimes arm stretching back can make a difference. And if you've chosen the lying on the belly version, you could have your knees bent. You might reach back, find your feet. Whatever feels good with your neck, turn to the side, gently looking forwards, turning it to the other side when your neck needs a readjust. Staying in this shape if you're comfortable with it, but knowing you've got full permission to ease out as you need to. Noticing how the elongation of those iliopsoas, those hip flexor muscles, might change things a little bit for your breath. Especially since you've worked both sides individually. Just exploring with your breath now if a longer breath does feel possible. If you're lying on your belly on the floor, that would definitely change things for your breath. You might even be feeling a bit of digestive massage while you're there. And again, I'm going to be quiet for the next few breaths to give you this time and space for your own internal experience. And then from here, easing your way gradually back to your rebound, whether that's lying down. You could stay lying on your belly if you're already there. Maybe pushing your hip bolster underneath your knees if you're lying on your back. And this is that time to check in, to feel the after effects of the pose, but also to check in and see if what you're feeling now is maximum comfort for this moment. If you wanted to get a blanket or another pillow to go underneath your head, or readjust the temperature in your room, whatever you need to do, taking some time to set up for our final relaxation, our ultimate rebound pose. Checking in, seeing if any more props will help you get super comfy. If you'd rather sit, it's fine with me. You're just going to make your way to the position where it feels like your body is as easeful as it can be for tonight. And all of the little preparations or little setup things that we do, it's about the comfort of the body to minimize distractions for the mind. But it's also this little process of telling the mind, that we are settling in for a while. Different to going to sleep in our bed at night, but if you fall asleep, no one's going to know. You're at home, probably pretty close to your bed anyway. And I feel like if you do happen to fall asleep, it must be because you really needed that sleep that night. I take it as a compliment in class. I will take it as a compliment now. And so I'm going to walk through the relaxation and just give you a little bit of quiet space at the end, as I have been doing for these postures. If eyes closed is your relaxing option, go with that. If soft gaze is better for you, then you do what's right for you tonight. We'll take a moment now just to settle in, to feel the ground or maybe the cushions beneath us. To explore if it's possible to settle in a little bit more. To let go of some physical effort while we're here. And we have been working with a sense of gently elongating the exhale. We can even let go of that effort here and just let the breath find its own rhythm in and out. But you might find that just noticing the breath, just paying attention to it, means that your breath naturally lengthens out a little all on its own, just as long as it's not something that's feeling like effort. And gently sending your awareness down to the toes, feeling into the toes, feeling into the soles of the feet, into the tops of the feet, into the heels, feeling into your ankles and your calves, into the shins, into the knees, feeling into the thighs, into the hips, into the buttocks, feeling into the belly, and beneath the belly, feeling into your lower back, feeling into the chest, beneath the chest, feeling into the upper back, feeling into the shoulders, into the upper arms, feeling into the elbows, into the forearms, into the wrists, and feeling down to the palms of the hands, the fingers, thumbs, and gently tracing your awareness back up the fingers, the hands, along the arms and into the shoulders, feeling into where the shoulders meet the neck. And just feeling into the neck, throat and jaw, upper teeth, lower teeth, resting gently apart. The tongue might rest next to the lower teeth, feeling into the mouth, and little muscles that surround the mouth, feeling into the cheeks, into little muscles around the eyes, feeling into eyes themselves as gaze turns inwards, feeling into the forehead, into the scalp, and again taking that internal journey, letting your mind explore the body from the inside. Noticing where your awareness is drawn to. Maybe it's somewhere where you felt a lot of sensation tonight. Maybe it's somewhere that feels different after the practice that we've done. Maybe it's one of those tight spots that we mentioned before, and I like to explore into it now, see how things are feeling. And there might be somewhere in your body that just feels like it needs a little bit of extra nurturing tonight. And so our breath is one way to send awareness to that particular place. As we inhale, think of breathing to that spot. And the exhale could be a gentle message to soften, to release a little. Or it could just be a sense of breathing with the sensations in your body at this moment. It's okay if thoughts are moving through the mind. Notice those thoughts as they arise and disperse. But if you notice you've got completely swept away by a particular thought, or it's just a repeating cycle of thought that's going round and round, that could be a good time to consciously guide your awareness back to the body, back to that spot that you're focusing on. Or you might even like to feel into the ground beneath you, into that sense of being supported by the earth beneath. If you're feeling really comfy lying there, you don't need to get up, you can stay. If you're feeling like you might be ready to start to bring your awareness back to the room, noticing again the support of the ground beneath you, noticing how your body's feeling after the practice that you've done tonight. Noticing as well state of mind, flow of your breath, connection between mind and body and breath. You might like to give your fingers and your toes a little wiggle, getting a bit of movement flowing back there. You might even like to go for a bit more of a stretch. Taking hold of right wrist, stretching right side. Taking hold of left wrist, stretching left side, maybe fingers interlacing, palms pressing away, both sides lengthening and awakening. And there's no hurry with this, but your next move could be gently easing your way over to one side, maybe gradually coming up to sitting from there when you're feeling ready. Once you've found your way to a comfortable seat or a continuing comfortable lying down, feeling again into the earth beneath us and taking this time to acknowledge the traditional owners of the ground beneath our studio, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, but wherever you are, to the Indigenous people that lived in that land before. Honouring as well the wisdom traditions that have passed these amazing techniques of yoga, meditation down to us today. And honouring your own energy that you brought to your practice tonight. Taking this time for self-care so that we can then care for the rest of our community. And I wish you namaste. So, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You want to come up, Ron? Thanks for production, Ron.
No worries.
So, I hope you have a really restful sleep after that. I'd maybe suggest not watching the news tonight. Yin can make us feel extra sensitive because we've just spent all of this time going into internal awareness, and we want to be kind to ourselves after a practice like that. So a really yummy meal, drink plenty of water. We didn't talk too much about fascia and connective tissues tonight, but one of the goals of this practice is nurturing our connective tissues, and hydrating them is a great way to do that. So drinking plenty of water, eating well. I wish you a beautiful sleep. Thank you so much for joining us. Is there anything you want to add, Ryan?
Just a reminder about our other classes on Zoom on Monday and Tuesday night. So we'd love to see you there. You can just go to our website, gardenofyoga.com.au.
I'll put that link in as well, and like I mentioned, we're going to be launching some mentoring because we've really heard the call that people need some help in these times, so it's mainly for yoga teachers. Again, I was playing music by Moby tonight, his long ambience, which are free to download and license free, so okay to play on Facebook.
Thanks, Moby.
Thanks, Moby. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And you could download them as well if you just want some calm music to play at home. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back next week for Yin.